Hello, first grade friend. Welcome back. I am Miss Uriostegui, but you can go ahead and call me Miss U. And this is math. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you my screen so that we know what we're doing today, okay? Here we go. So it is first grade module 3, lesson 1. And it's going to be taught to you today by Miss Uriostegui. Like I said, you can go ahead and call me Miss U, whichever one is fine, okay? So let's get started. So this is our math schedule for today. So the first thing we're gonna do is that we're gonna do some math fluency. So that we're gonna have some numbers. We're just gonna review 1 through 10, and we're gonna learn how to spell 1 through 10, okay? So you're just gonna need some paper and a pencil for that. Okay, and then the second thing we're gonna do is our objective. We're gonna go over what does the objective mean, why is it important, okay? And then the third thing we're gonna do is the lesson. And I'm gonna have some vocabulary for us, and then we're gonna have some teacher examples that you can see. And then the last thing we're gonna do is some practice problems, which you're gonna need a piece of paper and some pencils, okay? Righty, let's start with number 1 through 10. So we know that to go from 1 through 10, we have to start with the number 1. So 1, and then the spelling for 1 is O-N-E. 1, O-N-E. And then we have 2, and the spelling for 2 is T-W-O. T-W-O for 2. And then we go to number 3. And 3 is T-H-R-E-E. 3. And then after that, our number is 4, which is F-O-U-R. 4. Then we go on to number 5. And 5 is F-I-V-E. 5. We have 6. 6 is S-I-X. S-I-X. Then it's 7. 7 is S-E-V-E-N. We have 8. 8 is E-I-G-H-T. 8. 9, which is N-I-N-E. 9. And our last number is 10, which is T-E-N. 10. Good job. Let's move on. So here is our objective for the day. It says compare length directly and consider importance of aligning endpoints. Okay, but what does that mean? What does it mean? It means that we're going to learn how to compare objects using the statements shorter than and longer than. So we're going to look at different objects on the screen, and we're going to say, oh, this one's shorter than this one, or this one's longer than this one. So we're just going to be using those phrases, and we're going to be comparing those numbers, okay? But why is that important? So it's important because it helps us understand how the objects are different and how to describe the objects. So, for example, if we put it in a real life situation, maybe sometimes your sibling wants you to pass a cup, and there's 2 cups on the table, and one cup is like this and the other cup's like that, and you're trying to compare them. You're trying to tell them the story of these cups, and they ask you, but which one's the shorter one? And you can say, well, this cup shorter and this one's longer one. So we know how to compare them, shorter than longer. Okay. Okay, so let's go over our vocabulary. So here we have the shorter than and we have the longer than. Let's go over the shorter than. So shorter than, we have one leaf and two leaves. So this is leaf 1 and this is leaf 2. So I'm gonna move my screen over here. I'm gonna make it a little, there we go. So what we can do is that we can see from here to here and we can make a line because that's the line that goes from here to here. And we can make a line from this one. So now if we compare this line to this line, we know that this line is a lot smaller, so it's shorter than this line. So 1 is shorter than 2 because 2 has a longer line. So you see from this here to here, this one's shorter than 2. And then we have longer than. So we can have our leaves going up and down too. So they don't always have to be side to side, they could be up and down. So here we have leaf 3 and leaf 4. And if we did the same, we measured it and we had this line, this is how big leaf 3 is, and this is how big leaf 4 is. We can tell that leaf 3 is longer than leaf 4 because the line that we measured right here is a lot bigger, a lot longer than this one. So that's longer than here. Now, if we look like here, we can even compare these lines. We can grab this one and we can place it right next to it. And see, we see that the measurement for leaf 1, which is this one, is shorter than the measurement for leaf 2. And if we get this one right here and we put it over here, just like that, and they're the same, we can see that this one for leaf 4 is shorter than. So that means that the measurement for leaf 3 is longer than leaf 4. See, just like that. Now let's go ahead and do the next one. Okay, so we did shorter than and we did longer than. And we compared these leaves. Let's see our next vocabulary word. Our next one is endpoint. What is an endpoint? Endpoints are actually where the object is being measured. So the starting of where you start and where you end measuring it. So that's where you would start and you would end right there for leaf 1. For leaf 2, we would have the same endpoint as here and we would end all the way over here just like we did here. So these are the endpoints. This is where they start. This is where it ends. So you're going to start measuring here and end right there for leaf 1. And start here and end here for leaf 2. So these are from side to side. Now, if you want to measure from bottom to top, you have to, or top to bottom, you have to have the points, one on top and one in the bottom. Right here, one on top and one in the bottom. So endpoints is where you're going to start measuring and where you end measuring, okay? And they could be from side to side, or they can be from bottom to top or top to bottom, okay? So here we go. So this is my teacher example. It says right here in the directions, circle the correct phrase and fill in the blank. And then right here is the word problem. It says A is then B. So they want to know, is A shorter than B or is A longer than B? And here we have leaf A and leaf B. And then we have the word shorter than and longer than. So we have to circle the one that's correct and then we write it right here, shorter or longer, okay? So here I have my A and my B. So I wanted to know, I would measure it from one point to the next. So here we go. So I would start here and I would end here, and that's how long it would be. There I have my line. Then for B, I have there, I would start there and end here. These are my end points, and that's how long it is. So from what I can see right here, this line looks a lot shorter than this one. So A has the shorter line and B has a longer line. So A is shorter than B because B is longer, right? So I would have to circle it. A is shorter than, and then shorter, fill it in, B. See? You see how that is? A is shorter than B because A has a smaller line right here and B has a longer line. And something I learned is that we can actually use a piece of paper to measure. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So how can you measure with a piece of paper, you may ask? Here we go. I'm gonna stop sharing. It's easy. For example, here's my piece of paper, right? And I want to measure this fidget spinner. And I want to see if my fidget spinner is from the, so this is my endpoint from this dot to this dot. And I want to see if the fidget spinner is shorter than or longer than this statue of a bear. And so the end point of the bear, so it would start here and it would end here. So what I can do with my piece of paper, I grab a fidget spinner and I put it from the top to the bottom. So this is the very top of my paper, you see? And just where the fidget spinner ends, I would make a line. Just like that. So there's my line. I'm gonna make it darker so that you can see. So then my fidget spinner is from here, from the top of the paper to right here in this line long. And then I could put an F right next to that line so that I know that that is the fidget spinner measurement. And then I would get my bear. I said it was from its bottom to its head. Oh, sorry. So just like that. And I would put a line right where the head ends. So I would grab my pencil and I would make a line. I'm gonna go ahead and make that darker for you. And then I would put the letter B for the bear. Do you see that? So this is from here to here is my fidget spinner, and from here to here is the bear. So then my fidget spinner is shorter than this bear, and the bear is longer than this fidget spinner. So in the lesson, you can be using a piece of paper and you could be using it to measure the objects that I will be having on the screen, okay? So if you don't have a ruler, you can use a piece of paper, that's just fine. Now, let's go ahead and look at my next teacher example. And if you want, you can go follow along with the piece of paper. Okay. So we just went over this one. And we did this. So this, you could pretend that this line right here, this is where the paper starts, and this is where you mark it, and that's how big long it is. And that would be your line. So we know that A is shorter than B. Now let's look at my other teacher example. So just like the other one, it says circle the correct phrase and fill in the blank. So we have the phrase shorter than, longer than, and then we have our problem right here, our word sentence. It says E is then R. So here's leaf E and here's leaf R. Leaf R is actually way up here. So they're not even at the same level. One's like this, one's like this. Does that make R the longer leaf? No, it doesn't make it the longer leaf. It just means that they're not placed at the same level, which is a realistic problem because sometimes we don't have the objects side to side. We have them across from each other or other ways, okay? So here's my leaf E and my leaf R. I'm gonna go ahead and show my endpoints. So here and here. So that means that I'm gonna measure from top to bottom or bottom to top, not side to side. We're doing up and down or down and up, okay? And then there, that line is how long leaf E is. Now I have to find my endpoints for leaf R, like that. And that is how long leaf R is. So which one? So is E shorter than R or is E longer than R? E is longer than R. So E is longer than R because if we can see right here, this line is a lot longer than this one. And E does look a lot longer than leaf R. And if we want, we can even measure it. We can have the measurement of leaf R like that and see this one's shorter and this one's longer. So leaf E is longer than leaf R. Okay. So let's go on to a practice problem. So just like the other one, it said circle the correct phrase and fill in the blank. And then we have the shorter than, the longer than, and then we have drafts. We have D and K. It says D is then K. So is D shorter than K or is D longer than K? So what you can do is you can get your piece of paper and you could put it against your screen and make your little lines, or you can have a ruler and measure. But the question is, are you going to measure from side to side or from top to bottom? We're going to measure from top to bottom or bottom to top. So I want you to measure from top to bottom or bottom to top. We're not doing side to side, okay? So go ahead, measure these giraffes. So pause it so you can measure them and then fill in the blank. So write it down in your piece of paper. And when you're ready, go ahead and hit unpause so that we can compare our answers, okay? Okay, now that you've had enough time to measure them, let's go ahead and see what is D shorter than K or is D longer than K? So my endpoint for this one would be right here where their feet are, right? And their feet are actually at the same level. So you can start at the same spot for both of them. So I'm gonna put their feet right here. So that's my first endpoint. And then I'm thinking of ending right here and like the antennas because that's how tall they are. So if I were to measure, I would measure here and here. And just by looking at it, I can tell that D is shorter than K. So I'm circling shorter than and then filling in D is shorter than K because D actually doesn't even go past K. So D is shorter than K. So if we were to measure it and have a line, D would actually end right there. Writing. Let's keep going with these practice problems. Okay, this one says T is then L. So this one's T, the tiger, and this one is L, the lion. And so we have to circle the correct phrase and fill in the blank. So when you're copying down the problem, you just have to write, is T shorter than L? You have to write the T is than L. So you can put in shorter than or longer than, and you can try your best drawing these, okay? But remember, you can go ahead and use a ruler on your screen, or you can go ahead and use a piece of paper and do little lines, okay? So pause it so you can do that, measure T and L. And I actually want you to measure from side to side because we can see that they have the same height. So we're gonna do it from side to side. So measure from here to here. Okay, now that you've had enough time to do it on your own, let's go ahead and check our work. Okay, so I'm actually gonna do it from like the side of their head to their back. So the points from here, from the head to the back. Okay? Not, we can do it from their tail, but I'd prefer to do it from here. Okay? So is T longer than L or is T shorter than L? T is longer than L. So we can see this T, this tiger is a lot longer than the lion. The lion's a little tiny. Okay, let's keep going. It says C is then Q. So here's Q, it's this little bird, and here's C, it's this bird right here. So the pink bird is Q, and the yellow one is C. Well, this one has yellow and pink. They both have yellow and pink, but this one has more yellow and this one has more pink. Okay, so you're gonna circle if it's shorter than or longer than. So go ahead and we're gonna do it from top to bottom or bottom to top. So I want you to find an endpoint here, find an endpoint here, and then one here and one here, and measure them with your piece of paper or your ruler, and then fill in the blank. Okay? Now that you've had enough time to fill in the blank, let's go ahead and do this together. So C is, here's C. So they look like they're in the same level from the head. They start at the same level, but we can see right here that C's feet are all the way in the bottom right here, and Q's feet are right here. So it ends right there, and it ends right here. So I can see that C is longer than Q. So C is longer than Q. And if you want, I can even, we can grab this Q and we can put it right where, see where their heads are, one of their endpoints, and you can tell right here that C is a lot longer than Q. Go. Now let's keep going. So practice problem, another one. It says L is then M. So we have to compare L to M. And it wants to know if L, turtle L, is shorter than M or is turtle L longer than M. So just like the other ones, we circle the correct answer and fill in the blank. And if we can see, the turtles aren't so tall, so we're going to do it from side to side. So go ahead, measure your turtles, and then go ahead and click unpause so that you can check your work. Alrighty, so I can tell that C, it starts around here and ends around here, and then this one is a lot longer. M is just longer. So if M is the longer turtle, that means that L, turtle L, is shorter than turtle M. So L is shorter than M. Okay. Now it says the directions changed. It says circle the correct phrase and write a statement. So which turtle is the shortest? Is it turtle X, turtle Y, or turtle Z? So out of all three of them, which one's the shortest? So go ahead, get your piece of paper, try to measure them, and go ahead and write down on your piece of paper which one you think is short and write your statement. So is the shortest, or turtle is the shortest. So go ahead, do your best, and then when you're ready, go ahead and hit unpause. Okay, so which one was it? Which turtle is the shortest? Turtle Z. See, this one's the shortest, and this one's the longest, and this one's just in the middle. So turtle Z, turtle X, and turtle Y. So the shortest one is turtle Z, which is right here. And then the statement I chose was turtle Z is the shortest. Righty. So now it's time for us to discuss or think. So if you have an adult around you, you can go ahead and answer these questions and talk to them about the questions, or you can talk to your brother, to your sister, to your best friend, or you can just think to yourself. So answer these questions in your head if you want to just think about them, okay? So it says, what was the most challenging thing you had to do in today's lesson? Explain. So what was most difficult? Was it trying to figure out if you were measuring from top to bottom or from side to side, or maybe it was remembering the vocabulary? Which one was the most challenging and why? So explain it. And then it says, why is it important to know which object is shorter than and which one is longer than? Explain. So why is it important to know which one's shorter, which one's longer? Go ahead and explain and put it in your own words why you think it's important to know which one's shorter and which one's longer. Alrighty? So this is my end slide. Look at the cute little bird and monkeys. It says, thanks. Have an amazing day, first grade friend. Writing. So thank you for having me today as your math teacher, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye, first grade friend.